I am getting ready to edit probably my favorite episode that I've shot. It's really just come down to a culmination of over a year's worth of work and probably multiple hundreds of hours worth of labor went into this next video. I have other videos on some of the fiberglass work I've done on Rusty's tub, but in this video coming up, we actually paint it and complete the actual tub itself. It's done. There's no more fiberglass to do. There's no more major repairs, which took so long. So I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to 10 Foot Customs. As we left you in the first part of this is basically how it looked. I did put the carpet in there, but that was for a completely different reason. The story behind what is going to happen now. I bought this down in Amish country, Ohio, about the middle of the state, and had to go get a car dolly to go get it. On our way back up, I was watching it in the rearview mirror on the dolly as we we're driving back up, and the previous owner had spent probably an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, just story after story after story about this CJ7. And it's been all over the country, has 315,000 miles on it, and he bought it new. And so it was just great stories about this vehicle. And on my way home, I'm like, it's got to have a name. I mean, not every vehicle has to have a name, but this one does, just because of the history and just how cool it is. And it kind of came sort of natural. My wife was sitting over in the back in the passenger seat, and she goes, "It's Rusty." And I said, "You're absolutely right. Its name is Rusty." So that's how Rusty got its name. It was pretty. That was it. I mean, it seemed like a Rusty. He looked rusty. So that's what we got. During the reconstruction phase of this, I've been going through multiple different color combinations in my head. But ultimately, what came down to my head was his name is Rusty. The chassis looks immaculate because the chassis has been gone through almost completely. The engine's going to look good. The interior is going to look brand new. If I make the outside look brand new, the name's not going to fit. I said, let me see if I can come up with a way to make the exterior look like or similar to how I bought him. I spent my brother and I have spent the last month or so practicing ways to make this look really rusty and authentically rusty. It's not easy to do on a fiberglass tub, but I think after some test panels, I think we came up with something that will work. Layering up all that paint, well, now we will go and take off some of that paint. And on the test panel, it looked great. We'll see how it does on a large scale. My brother's on his way over here shortly to give me a hand. We're going to start kind of working at it a little bit. I got to put some tape lines here where body lines would have been. But then we're going to go and start weathering it. And hopefully it comes out as good as my mind shows. So stick around. Now again, if this works, the technique to this is rather simple. It would only work with a base coat paint. You couldn't do it with a single stage or anything with a clear coat on it. But since I've sprayed the entire thing down with layers of base coat, I am now going to put lacquer thinner on pieces of paper towel and start rubbing through those layers of paint to get down to those subsequent layers behind it. In theory, if it works like the test panel, that's all there is to it. And it's just kind of random. So, let's see how this works out. Wish me luck. This tape line I have here is a factory body line on a steel tub. It should line up with the hood. So this is where the fender would go and the hood would line up. So this is a factory like steel body line. I just wanted to kind of bring that in if I can to make it look more steel. This is kind of scary. I gotta go careful and gentle. If you see black paint, you gotta stop because that's your last layer. Which is why I was kind of hoping that this epoxy primer wasn't going to be able to come off with lacquer and that I could hit it without worrying about going down to fiberglass again. Gotten down to color. I'm going to try to pull that color. A little closer to it. Now, as you can see, what I did there is you keep wiping over it, you bring white back up into where you are, and if you want to do that, you know, turn your paper towel over to a nice clean section of it where you haven't wiped it again. And I should be able to wipe this down like that. And I think that's black there. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm done. That area is. I don't hit that section again. Again, pulling down is going to give you that look of when rust streaks down bodywork. Trying not to make this look anything uniform. I want it to be as ununiform as possible. So here I'm just going to put a bigger blister, I think. And now again, I'm smearing all sorts of other color in there that I don't want. So I'll get to a new fresh piece of paper towel that's still got a little bit of lacquer on it. If I come through it here, we get a little bit of rust. Now, these are looking very similar. I want to pull this one a little bit bigger and a little bit longer. This is going to take a few hours, but everything is an up and down wipe. You don't want to wipe any other direction than that because that's not the way rust would have traveled. Thinking we're going to want to work this stuff again. This is all new. I think we're going to want to work this a little bit at a time and let some of these layers dry off, because it gets, again, you're getting it very sticky. Adding the lacquer to it makes it very tacky again. Probably want to give it a little break here and there to cure up a little bit. So I think that area there, pretty good. I want to put a little bit more over on this side. Like the door chipped it and it started to rust where the door chipped it. Kind of trying to think of where areas where it would have actually gone bad. This is just stage one. There's like, or step one, I guess. There's at least 2 steps to this process. Maybe more. We haven't decided yet, 100%. And you're going to get to a point where your paper towel is just, if you keep rubbing with it, you're going to start putting stuff on you don't want. So it's time for a new paper towel. So kind of like this is just going to go over as we're going to continue the whole thing. I'm going to come down in here and rust out this front corner, and maybe a couple splotches here or there. And that's just pretty much stage one of this. I'll kind of bring you in as we go a little bit here at a time. It's going to get kind of boring just to sit here and watch me do this the entire time, but if you come up with something interesting, I'll bring you back in. Something else I did on the last one, the test pan, was and I was looking at pictures of the tub before I got it. This corner was pretty much gone, but it had a thin, because it's a double layer, it actually still had some metal in this corner. So what I found out what looks kind of good is if you rip a piece of tape down the middle and put the jagged edge facing inward, and that makes it all random. We'll take it out to about here. Yeah, to about there. So I will be able to rust out this area here without getting on its edge, and then we'll come back and do a lot more subtle weathering underneath it, because if you left these just bright white, it wouldn't look right, but we won't be doing that. So we'll work on this area here. So I've been working out here, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, and it's sun's setting and it's getting cold out here, so I'm gonna probably roll Rusty in here shortly, but I want to show you what I've got so far here, and then this tape line. But what I'll do here is I'll pull this, now that it's in here, will have left me with a jaggedy, ragged line. It kind of looks like the corner got eaten away. But like I said, this is still way too clean. So step one to make this not look so clean, we're going to just take our rag fresh and come in here and start pulling it down. Pull some of that color out of there. Try to make it as random as possible. We don't want it to look like all the metal's gone, because it's still got to have some sort of a corner to it. Push some of this white back up into it. It looks like the paint, you know, maybe there's a fleck of paint still left in there. Is a really dry, I mean, it's just a little bit of thinner on this. And I'm just really rubbing at it hard to try to get color to come through as best I can and to make it look dirty. You can see I pushed a lot of white up in here, so I'll take, right before I'm done, I'll come back here and wipe off as much of that as I can with a real gentle, like almost, you probably use like a Q-tip to actually do it, but I'm going to try it with the paper towel. Just make a really nice sharp edge with the paper towel and try to clean up this white that got into my darker color. We're going to come in here. I'm going to try to dirty this up a little bit. I'm just trying to pull a little bit from here, get it onto the paper towel. And move it over into that edge. Make it look like it started rusting from where the fender was hitting it. Run through, get a nice rusty spot all the way to the corner right there so it doesn't look perfectly angled. Clean that up a little bit. That. Okay, we're going to kind of leave this section here, I think, pretty darn good. We'll start moving along here. I think I need something up in here and maybe something over here possibly. This is just too clean at this point. So I've been working on this for about 2 hours now, and it's starting to look like something. But something that we found out works really well, and it might be counterintuitive, is this is Createx. You can get this at Hobby Lobby, or probably, I don't know if you can get it at Walmart or not. This is an acrylic paint, so it's water-based. And we have used it before. I've used it a lot on motorcycles before, painting motorcycle parts. The nice thing about this is not going to affect any of this lower layer that's down here. And I didn't think this was going to do what it was going to do, and actually it was quite amazing. So let me see if I can bring in a little bit of this color, and we can, hopefully it works, like again, and show you what we're going to do. So we can take a little bit of this out on our finger. And hit some new spots with it. And that looks kind of awful. Get that off my finger as possible. Coming in with a terry cloth rag or whatever, that probably doesn't make a difference. And we'll start to pull in some of these oranges that you get when you get rust running down a panel. And because this is water-based, it's not taking any of the other material with it. So just kind of adding a little bit of color as opposed to removing any color. I'll have my brother come through here and he will do a little bit more to it. But kind of getting the idea of how the how rust runs down a panel. We're getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Now we've got two of us working on this. It should go a little bit quicker, though it also might not go a little quicker. But having two eyes on this seems to be better than one. Okay, let's see what we can do with this edge. Let's really destroy this corner.
I think this is already
given
the
that dirt.
effect of it's been worn in here. Be careful with I think your technique too is dabbing is also.
Oh, that's it. Like,
okay, this is a dab.
Yeah.
That's more of a dabby in here.
This seems to pull up like the next layer down to the black without going into the black. As soon as you see it, you can stop. I've been explaining to the folks at home that we have no idea what we're doing. That more like what you're thinking about for that corner?
Oh yeah. What is? Are you leaving it white
I like
in here?
that, yeah.
Okay.
We'll do this hazy out. It'll look like it was just at least a small piece that stayed in there.
See, I think the other part too that we're doing this, and then you go and you look at this, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
I think once the whole thing's done, you're not going to see that anymore
Correct.
either. I mean, we're going to have to do something with that, but.
Okay, so we're going to go in here and try to bring this rust spot up a little higher up. Because I am going to have the soft top brackets on here, but they do have to go a little higher into it. So we're just going to dip into our lacquer thinner and just start rubbing up here, and just takes off the top layer of white. Now we guys see on the rag here, I've got now this white, mostly white color. If I wipe here, that white color is going to end up on top of here. And then I have to wipe it again with a clean rag to get off, and you take a chance of going down below the lowest layer that I want. Right now I've got this black here, and I'm okay with that black layer. So I can take this because I'm still got that white layer, and just keep working up here. It's not going to be a problem to do that. You'll see now I'll switch to a clean. There's nothing been on this part of the rag right here. How much of that brown is already exposed. So we're trying not to go too deep. And it's kind of a trick to make it look natural. Natural rust on an unnatural substrate, I guess. There's a paper towel stuck right there. Now we're going to, got a good, pretty much a clean spot of paper towel. And then to finish it off, I got a little bit, lots of streak lines in there. And I'm down to the red and some of the black. So I'm down to my base coat, my first base coat, and down to the primer. I come in here and just kind of dab at it with a nice clean spot, and it'll get rid of a lot of those swiping, swipe or no swiping lines. And there you go. That was pretty much finished off that spot how I think it looks pretty good like that. We'll go ahead and come in with the oranges and really finish that off. But that's pretty much as simple as it is to make what was a nice white section into a rusty section. So on a steel body, there's also another weld line right here that I don't have, obviously. So I'm going to attempt to make one. Trying for anything perfect, just a rough estimate of where a line would be. Okay. Now we'll rust on either side of that line to give it a, looks like a seam, and it's randomly rusting out from both sides of that seam. I'm not quite sure if you can be able to hear me over the heater on, but as so often as stuff that we do, we learn techniques as we go, and I happened to stumble across this one, and it gives you these little stone chip effects. Basically, I just have I don't know what kind of brush this is, like one of those horsehair type brushes, I don't know. Dip it in, knock it off, knock it off, and just put a little strip of paint on there, or not paint, lacquer thinner on there, just so it kind of hangs there for a second. Let it eat through the white, and run it down, and that's it. Little speckles of rust coming through, and sometimes it pulls the undercolor. Sometimes it doesn't, but that's rust. Oops, that was not good. That was not a good rust. I just pulled all the way through the last thing we just did. Whoops. Let's fix that a little bit now. Get some clear, transparent stuff. I might come back here and touch this one up if I mess it up too bad. That's fine. Well, welcome back. It's now Monday morning. I got late last night and I didn't shoot anymore because we were really busy working on the other side. I'm going to work on this side today, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to do a time lapse so you can kind of just watch me work a section of it, and we'll see how that goes. Well, according to Sunshine, maybe. According to the time lapse, I was recording for just over a half hour, so like 35 minutes. And this is what I got in 35 minutes. So, if it's any indication of how long it takes to weather it, and that's not, again, this is just first step. I'm gonna go through and do all the detailed weathering. So it does take quite a bit of time, but I think it's going to look fantastic. I'll bring you back in here when we're getting closer to being finished. Well, the sun is setting and beautiful fall colors all around. This side is almost complete. I got a section in here that I haven't done yet, but there's a reason for that. It will be done tonight though. I'm going to try to put a clear on this tomorrow. It's like the last warm day I think I'm going to have this season, so I got to get it clear on this. I only have a couple weeks with this base coat before I'd have to scuff the whole surface again, and that obviously wouldn't work. So I just started the rear end. I'll take you back there to look at that. So I'm just starting the rear end over here. And so this side's pretty much done. I think there's a little couple odds and ends I got to do, but for the most part done. I got the front pretty well, I think. Again, with this surface on the Jeep, really doesn't take that much abuse. It's so rounded, but other than like stone chips and stuff like that. And honestly, in the condition this one is in, especially on this side where the full rusting is done, this is in way better shape than the Jeep that I bought. So I'm not even making it look as bad. But so yeah, I'm gonna work the back end here. My brother's coming over again tonight to do some more weathering, and he'll start doing the second stage of weathering on this side and get all the yellows and rust streaks in. And then I'll try to clear it tomorrow. But so for right now, this is where we're at. And again, I'm going to continue on with the back end, and I'll bring you back in when I get some more done. We're back at it, night 2. I got a lot of this done this afternoon, which I saw some video on. Now we're going to come through with the second phase of weathering, and I gotta do this part. This I didn't get done at all, so enjoy. A couple of the final steps here is you got to kind of dirty up all your paint, because this white is white, and if you don't get it aged properly, you can definitely tell there's a difference. Like this corner here is bright white still, and this has kind of been aged already. So I'm going to go through here. All I'm doing is taking an old used paper towel that we've been using on doing some of this other stuff, and I'm getting it just a little bit into the lacquer thinner. And I'm coming over and just wiping at it. And it'll pull colors out of here and here, just kind of moving around a little bit. And just kind of dirty up the paint. Now, then after this though, I'll show you here in just a second. So I've gone through. There's minor streaks and just dirty imperfections. Basically everywhere. So, what that does though, is if you see this spot here, that spot there isn't as like black and I guess rusted out as I want it to be. So now I got to go back, take a little bit of lacquer thinner. I'm on a new rag. New rag is important. Just go ahead and dab at it. It'll bring the dark browns back and the blacks back, and that washed out from rubbing it over and pulling white into it kind of goes away. So once that is complete, I'll do the final wipe down with the orange, and it'll complete the look. So I'm going to go through here and get all this white touch-ups done, peel this tape off, and we'll do the final. Well, my brother left, and he left me in charge of the final stage here. And it took me a little bit, but I think I figured it out. So you've got your orange, and seems that using your index finger seems to be the best. Kind of dab into the paint and come up around the edges of your rust spot. Just keep dabbing at it until it starts to dry up. Then you take your rag and come in here and kind of clean up the edges of it and kind of leave the spots that are dry. Come back in here again. There's a little bit of white in there, so when I hit that white, like that, I just don't want to take it all away. I want to leave. I'm going to run there, so I'm going to follow that run. Kind of like that. You just come across the whole piece like this. Like I want this whole piece to look like it's kind of rusted the same. It's actually, there'll be a tire bracket here for the spare tire. So I kind of want this to be, I would assume this would actually kind of do this off the bolt holes and stuff. It would actually run like this. Dab off, wipe my finger dry again. Keep coming in here. Again, the paint's starting to dry up again a little bit. I can come up here and put a little bit on that one. paint dries up, I can come in here and dab at it. And it's kind of it. That kind of leaves you with your final product of rust. I'm just again, I'm not doing every spot like this, but I'm thinking like some of the, in my opinion, again, this is what if it's a dark spot like this that's been rusting for a while, it's probably going to have more of these runs down out of them. If it's a lighter spot, probably not so much. But again, I'm not hitting them all. I'm just hitting them kind of randomly. And we'll go from there. I think that's it. I'm going to go over it tomorrow one last time before I clear coat it, to make sure I got everything and make sure everything is how it should be. I am going to attempt to peel the mask now, and hopefully they work like they're supposed to here. Actually, it doesn't look bad. Now that I've peeled it, maybe it's a little big. It doesn't look bad. Put the clear over it, and I think it'll look like there's a door in there. Okay, I'm going to get to the rest of the peeling up the mask off it so that I can clear it. I got to peel this mask, and then I've got a mask up front, and then I will catch up with you guys tomorrow morning, where if the weather is good, we will throw a couple coats clear on this. See you guys in the morning. Well, good morning everyone. It is Tuesday morning. I was up pretty late last night getting this finished up. Got up early this morning. It's now about 9:45, but I got up around 8. Went over, checked the whole tub, made sure everything looked good, masked off the interior, and got it ready to getting ready to do the final-ish clear coat. I just need to protect it. This only lasts with what I have here. How I have this done here, this lasts about 3 weeks before I'd have to go back in and scuff it all up, and then I could put a clear coat on it. I don't like going over 2 weeks, but with how I painted this thing, I have to get a clear coat on this. There's no other way around it. So I'm going to put a standard gloss clear on it, and then come spring when it warms up again, I can scuff the clear and put down my flat or my matte clear. I'm not quite sure exactly what sheen I'm going with, but it's going to be a flatter clear. But 55 outside. The tub right now is about 70 degrees because the heater's running. So hopefully if I roll it outside to the sun, the temperature will stay, the heat will stay in the tub a little bit. A couple coats clear, and then I can let it sit for the winter time. The plan is a bunch of really thin coats because it's only 55 out here. It should be okay, and I'm going to try it. If I have to, I'll roll it in to the garage where it's warmer to flash, but it's not going to flash really quick. So real thin coats, and hopefully that works. And that's it. That's a wrap. That's got 2 coats of gloss clear. This was the last good weekend of the year. So with that, we will end the video. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this long video. Hope you enjoyed this rusting technique. Remember to like and subscribe, and I hope everybody has a great week.